Before I start this video, I'd just like to address a few comments I've gotten on this video and the one on the top right, I believe. No, you're supposed to use whatever means necessary to clarify your intentions. It doesn't matter how you communicate your intentions as long as it is clear what you are doing. I commend this bus driver for using the tools necessary to communicate his intent and keep my child safe. So your comment can go bleep itself and you can go get a life. Thanks. Now, basically, what's happening in this comment is later, towards the end of the video, I'm recording some of the traffic that's crossing the railroad crossing. One of the school bus drivers, instead of using his 4-way flashers, uses his 8-ways, which is the alternately flashing amber lights and red lights that are on the school bus. Now, the problem with that is you're supposed to use your 4-way flashers when approaching a railroad crossing to signal that you are going to stop. This is to let the cars know behind you what you're doing. But you're not supposed to use your 8-ways, and the reason why is because they signal to the other drivers that you plan on dropping off children or picking up children, which means that you're signifying to the other drivers on the road that they have to stop, rather than that you're the only one that's stopping and the rest of them can continue to go. This is a problem because it can actually cause someone to get confused and stop on the railroad crossing because they can't go past the school bus when the red lights are flashing. So they have to stop when they see those lights, even if they're not picking up children. And that's the problem with what this guy was doing. He could have caused confusion on the road by using those lights. Now, I used to train to be a school bus driver with a certain company, and they taught me all about the difference between the 4-ways and the 8-ways. And they specifically told me why I wasn't allowed to use the 8-ways when stopping at a railroad crossing. So technically, when you use your 8-ways, you're not signaling to the other drivers that you're stopping at a crossing. You're signaling to the other ones that they have to stop as well, which can be dangerous at a railroad crossing. So that was the main reason why I pointed out his mistake in doing that. And I even explained that in the comments, as you can see. Someone else also chimed in to help clarify the situation. Now here's another interesting one. It's a duplicate video, just a different bell sound imposed on top of the audio. The uploader has bleep near 60 seconds to present different bell sounds every certain number of seconds, but not wastes a lot of cloud space for a 5-minute video to present a 3-second repeating sound. And the bleep about a bus driver who didn't do his crossing properly. I am ashamed to live in the world we do with stupid ignorance like this. I'm not even sure what this guy's trying to say. Now, as far as the videos being duplicates, some of them do have the same footage but with different audio. The main reason for that is when I started this series, I worked for a company where I only basically had Friday and Saturday and Sunday off of work. Sometimes I even had to work Sunday for overtime. Now, the problem with that is the trains only cross this railroad crossing from Monday through Friday. So far, I've never seen a train come through here on a Sunday. And they do cross this crossing on Saturday, but it's very rare. In fact, you're lucky if you get even one train on a Saturday. So, obviously, I had very limited footage because of the hours I was working. Most of the time, when a train came through here, I was still at my job. A lot of these videos were filmed on a Saturday because it was the only day I had off and the only time I had to film a train crossing this crossing. Most other times when they crossed it, I wasn't even home, sadly. So, I had very limited footage to work with, but still wanted to fulfill the requests I was getting. So that was basically the solution for that. Now, you'll notice that I have a lot of new footage of this railroad crossing. That is because I currently don't have a job, so I have all the time in the world to film a train when it comes by here. There is one problem though. I don't always know when a train is going to come through here. There's doesn't seem to be a set time at which a train is going to cross this crossing. Usually, there's one train at around 12 and one at somewhere between 4:30 and 5. However, as they point out on the Norfolk Southern website, there is no specific schedule because it depends on whether or not someone needs something delivered, which can happen at pretty much any time of the day. So sometimes I'll be waiting at the crossing at 12 and there is no train, but that same train that I was expecting at 12 will come by at maybe 1:30. Other times the train that I expect to come at around 4:30 will come at 6:15. So even when I know the gist of when a train is going to come, I still don't always know when to be at the crossing ready to film. In fact, so far there seems to be a pattern where there's one train that comes somewhere between 8 o'clock in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and there's another one that comes anywhere between 3 in the afternoon and 7 o'clock in the evening. However, there are other variables that can basically throw this pattern out the window. For example, if the train doesn't return by 7 o'clock, then usually that same train will come back at somewhere between 8 o'clock and 3 p.m. But if that happens, then it's not going to come back traveling in the opposite direction until the next day. So there's no real pattern for me to know when the train's going to come by this railroad crossing, and that's part of the reason why there's very limited footage of this. However, I am working as hard as I can to get new footage every time I upload a new video, but sometimes if I have a lot of requests but I don't have a lot of footage to go by, then I reuse footage. That's pretty much all there is to it. Now, please enjoy this bonus footage of a truck almost getting hit at this railroad crossing. One day I was filming this railroad crossing and a truck driver, it was a dump truck. I think he accidentally stopped on the tracks. Maybe he didn't realize the crossing was on until the last minute, but he did back out of the way just in time. I was so worried that I was going to end up seeing a train hit a truck, but luckily it didn't happen. Looking at me. I heard the truck backing up and the train blowing its horn, so I decided to run out as fast as I could, thinking I might be catching something pretty interesting at this crossing today. Luckily, he backed out of the way in time. Now for the real reason you're here. What if this railroad crossing had a bell from a Belgian railroad crossing? What would it sound like?